Mary and Helen was Ethel's sister, Mary. And he fell in love with Mary, and they got married, and then he had what, 9 more?
And this is your
10 more.
your grandma?
We called her Grandma Marzoni, but she was actually my step-grandmother.
But she was the neatest.
And this is your mom's side or your dad's side?
My mother's side.
Mother's side? Oh, yeah. Our side. Yeah.
Well,
And Mary's last child died a week or two ago.
Really?
Ted Marzoni. We went and funeral with George.
wait a minute. Is your dad's mom's side, right?
My mother's.
Mothers. Now,
My mother come from Marzoni's.
Oh.
which side of your family was it that came from
Slovakia?
No, but, I mean, yes, but the one that came from the family, the royal family.
The royal family, it was from the Marzoni clan.
Now, was it your mom's mom?
It would have been one of the relatives, and I never can get it straight. Come from the Habsburgs, but I still don't know how. Somebody went over there and checked on it, but I never did understand what they
I
said.
bet they could find that out on the computer.
But I heard that the one Habsburg was going with a military officer, and then the Habsburgs disowned her for that. So,
And then wasn't the story that later on, then her parents, who disowned her, had to come over from Slovakia and then had to live with her? Her and her husband? So I heard that from somebody. It might have been from Lisa and George Marzoni that I heard that from, yeah.
I heard that too, honey, and it could have been.
That they disowned her, but then when for whatever reason they were forced out of moving out of Slovakia, her parents, because her, the daughter,
How can royalty be forced out?
there was a lot of...
You marry a commoner, well, then you're just.
No, but the parents were forced out of the country. The parents that had disowned her, so she moved over to the U.S. with her, I guess then husband, I suppose, the officer, and her parents had disowned her. And then at some point, her parents and other people were forced out of the country for whatever reason and had no place to stay. They were penniless, and they ended up staying with her.
But did they really disown her, or she just couldn't carry on the royalty?
I don't think they talked to her again until they had to come over to the United States. But I don't know.
but George and Lisa maybe.
I think they told me that, yeah. But I want to know what you thought when Grandma said yes. Were you really happy?
Oh yeah. Can you jump up and down?
He's not one to show his emotions.
Well, what did you do? Did you jump up and down?
I don't think I did either.
Were you surprised?
Yes. I kind of thought he was pretty nice, but I never thought he was going to ask me.
Well, did you love him?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. You didn't love Jimmy Scully, and you'd seen him for quite a while.
Well, we'd go out with, nowadays, if you did Jimmy tonight, and then tomorrow night you went out with John, Jim would be mad. Well, back then, when we were young, we didn't get that serious or anything. We just go out.
So
and have
how'd you
a
know
good
you were
time.
serious with Grandpa?
Well, I don't know. He just seemed to grow on me, I guess.
Well, she probably got to know him pretty fast because he called her all the time.
Mhm.
I thought he just asked, "Hi, how are you?"
Oh no, we'd chit chat, and then he'd ask me where we should go, or the first 3 or 4 dates it was because we was going to a wedding because he was standing up for them, and so then after that we just on Sunday afternoon we'd go to what kind of lake was that for a picnic?
Pleasant Lake?
Yeah, we'd go to Pleasant Lake, have a picnic,
So
and then he'd have to bring me home because he had to go to work because he worked 7 days a week, or 7 nights a week.
since you were how old?
Until he retired,
Yeah, but starting at what age?
17, as soon as he got out of the army, didn't you?
I got out of the army at 21, was it?
And then you worked at the,
I was going on 21, I think.
and then you worked at the Buick, and did you always work
Yeah,
7 days a week?
I got
Back
on
then?
an apprenticeship. See, I got discharged in 1946, January of 46. I'll never forget that. It's when we almost met our Waterloo in the Atlantic.
What?
Our ship listed 53 degrees. That's like that. And the captain says somebody pushed us back up. Otherwise we could have continued over and
Somebody, what did they mean? Somebody pushed
Lord.
it. Oh. Why did this ship list over like that?
The wind.
because
it was
we
a
hit
storm.
50-mile-an-hour gales, or was maybe more than that. It was 3 gales that we hit. Lost the main mast at sea. We were sick for 13 days.
Like throwing up sick?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Were you afraid you were going to die?
Well, I wasn't afraid, but you know there was that possibility that I was going to die.
He said he was so sick he almost wished he'd died.
Yeah. But we lost the main mast and lost the life raft. And every time that ship would hit the waves, it just shuttered the whole ship.
So everyone was sick?
Most everyone. When you're in the mess hall eating and somebody trips and spills their food, then you're standing there holding your food and you can't stand still because it's slippery. You slide all the way down to the bulkhead there, and then you go back the other way.
Wow.
That doesn't sound like much fun.
No,
No.
it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
That's why I don't go on the cruises.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, he said he would. 1 year,
So you haven't been on a big boat since?
No.
and the few months before his brother John died, they went on a cruise, and they asked us to go, and he wouldn't go. Your mama went, and
Mhm.
Faith and Lori went, and I wanted to go just because I liked Bonji so much, and John, I like John too, and he wouldn't go because he would be on a boat, you know. So now then after that, his brother died just shortly after that, so he kind of wished he would have bit the bullet and went, but no. And I don't like to be on a boat, but I would have liked to have been with Faith and Lori and Bonji, you know. So.
Getting back to the nuns, the one nun asked my brother, "What do you do to save your soul?" He said, "Walk on your heels."
Your brother John said
My
that?
brother Emery.
Oh, Emery.
Emery was a card. He really come up with some good ones.
Which card? A joker?
Hmm. He was really. Johnny was nice too, but I didn't know Johnny as well as I did Emery because Emery and Zephyr were more our age, and Johnny was already married and had a baby, you know, and
Which baby?
Mark.
No, oh.
And so we just, Emery and Zephyr and us, we just did lots of things together, and it was neat.
Wait.
Really neat.
So I want to know why you got married so fast after he asked you to marry him.
I don't know.
That's because Emery and
Zephyr.
Zephyr was going to get married, and we figured that being older, we should get married first.
What?
What?
Well, I don't know.
And Zephyr was so mad. But she'd known Emery for years.
She gets mad easily.
Oh yes, she was. She'd known Emery for I don't know how many years, but a few. And I didn't know him even a year. I had known him a few months. And so they were going to get married in May. And we thought, I guess at the beginning, we'd get married after that sometime, I guess. And so then after he asked me to marry him, he says, "Why would we want to wait that long?" And so I said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "Why don't we get married soon?" So, and I didn't know how to do a big wedding.
Wait, and you said you guys got married that soon because you wanted to do it. You didn't want to get married during Lent.
Right. We got married the Saturday before Lent because you couldn't get married during Lent. And if we waited till after Lent, then we were close to the wedding date of Emery and Zephyr, and we couldn't get married that soon. And we didn't want to wait till after that. So we had to get married before Lent. And so February the 3rd was
You
the
didn't
last
wanna
Saturday before
Have
Lent.
fish at your wedding?
Yeah. And you couldn't get married during Lent back then. No way.
Like you
People
weren't.
do now, don't they?
I think they do, but you could not back then. You could not get married.
Nowadays, they're
during
just happy people decide they want to get married to each
Yeah.
other, so they're probably like, anytime.
Lent. And so then we set that date, and I says, I never thought of having a big wedding, because my people never did.
My people.
And then he said, oh yeah. He says, and I says, well, I wouldn't know the first thing to do. And he says, you just go and get yourself a dress, and I'll take care of everything.
So he told you you had to get a long dress?
Mm-hmm. Said, go pick out your dress.
Well, I don't think you were going to complain
Did I
about
say
that.
I probably wouldn't have got a long dress otherwise. He'd never been to a wedding where they didn't have a big, beautiful dress. So.
Well, I
Your
hear-
dress was pretty.
And I hear that in Slovakia, even nowadays, when they have a wedding, they party all night long.
Probably.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
of the night.
Yes, they do.
They bring out lots of food at different times, and people stay up to the wee hours in the morning. None of this leave at 10 o'clock crap that we get nowadays. That's just
Well, so do you still have your dress?
It's probably rotted because we got married in the winter, and it was one of the worst days of weather there was.
That's why you had to change your plans for the
Mhm.
honeymoon.
Because we were going to go to Florida. All the roads were closed. So I unpacked all my nice things and put all old stuff in and whatever I had, and we went to Niagara Falls. And,
But you still had fun, right?
oh yeah, but, and we didn't have any money, and so my dress never got cleaned. And it was winter, and it
Yeah,
was...
but even years after that, it never got cleaned?
Mm-mm,
Have you ever unpacked it since
Mm-mm.
then? You've never unpacked it since your wedding day?
mm-mm.
Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dress is beautiful, Grandma.
I
Yeah, but
wanna
it probably
see
looks
it.
like a dog's dinner now.
Well, beautiful dog's dinner.
Okay, well, tell me how you planned the wedding then.
Well, I didn't know how to plan a wedding. I had never known anything about a big wedding until I met him. And I says, I don't know the first thing to do. He says, you just go out and buy your dress and I'll take care of everything. So I did. And he'd pick me up at lunch hour and we'd go look at a hall. And the only hall that we could get at that short of time was the armory.
What's the armory?
It's where the soldiers used to go.
They had an engineering outfit, I think, that was stationed there here about 10 years ago.
I wonder if he just figured that way there'd be plenty of ammunition around if there was any boys that tried to come like Jimmy Scully and steal you away before you said your vows.
I don't know. So anyhow, then he'd pick me up my next lunch hour, and we'd go to the caterer and pick out our menu. And so that's what we did. And then we'd go pick out flowers, and then we'd do this.
He's very systematic.
Yes, he's always had everything, all his ducks in a row. I'll tell you.
And he's always had a lot of ducks.
Mhm. So anyway, I didn't know how to do anything because I had no clue I'd ever have a big wedding. I mean, why?
So what do all your relatives think?
My dad thought, oh my God, what a bunch of foolishness. What a bunch of
Until he got some of the liquor that was at your wedding, right?
Yes. Oh, he just had a ball.
Wait, your people wedding didn't have liquor?
Oh, never. You had ice cream and cake, and that was it. You didn't have any liquor. You didn't nothing. You didn't dance. You did nothing.
That sounds awful. I'm sorry, but from what you are telling me, the Germans sound very boring.
Yeah. My cousin Ruth is the only one that ever had a long white dress. And that was because her mama was a seamstress. And she made it. And we had ice cream and cake.
So your dad thought it was foolishness?
Oh yeah, but he had so much fun at our wedding. But when we're planning it and he's hearing all this, he never heard such foolishness in all his life. Just shook his head.
So,
What did your mom think?
Oh, my mom, she was easygoing. If that's what you wanted to do, my mom just went right along, didn't she?
Yeah.
My mom was,
Did your dad roll any cigarettes when we was at the wedding?
I don't
He
know.
probably did.
I don't know. I didn't watch him.
Every now and then he'd put the tobacco in there and roll it and
Lick it shut.
stick it in his mouth and light it.
well,
Yeah, I was probably so in awe, I didn't even know what was going on. I mean, I was probably
Did
thinking, wow.
Did you eat your food at your wedding?
Hmm?
Did you eat the food at your wedding?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we had chicken.
Because some people say they're so busy they don't even eat
No,
their
we
food.
ate. And on the table, he always has to have a toothpick. So on every one little while on the table, we had an orange with toothpicks in it. So everybody had a toothpick.
So how did you know how to plan a wedding? Most guys don't hardly plan anything.
And the band, years ago they had a Polish hour on WFDF at I think about 9 or 10 o'clock for about 2 hours. And the one that started that was Josephine Skrzela. She married a guy named Chet, name escapes me. But anyway, she and their family, she started the Josephine and her electric organ, and she always was known for that. And then they had a band because they played at Knickerbocker, not Knickerbockers, but at Beecher Gardens. And the drummer was my locker partner in high school.
What?
And so we hired their band to play at our wedding.
The Polish hour people?
Yeah, Josephine and her orchestra.
Did you have them play the blue skirt waltz?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And my dad and Ma had never been to a big wedding. And my dad he just couldn't believe all this.
Or wasn't he 3 sheets to the wind anyways?
Probably by the time we even ate, you know. But he just could not believe any of this. I'm sure he was sitting there thinking, this foolishness.
Yeah, but I thought you said he liked it. He had fun.
Yeah,
The
he
day
did.
of, yeah.
He did. He had fun.
Well, Grandpa, how did you know how to plan a wedding?
Well, I stood up for so many weddings, I don't know.
Yeah, but most guys
There was
don't
one.
hardly have anything to do with planning
I stood
weddings.
up for my cousin Steve in Sarnia in Canada. So we had to drive there, stand up for the wedding, and
Not
after
me.
having a few beers, had to drive home.
What?
What?
That's awful.
Well, was asked to stand up for the wedding.
Well, you didn't have to have a few beers.
Well, everybody has a beer at the wedding.
Yeah, he used to have more than a few beers.
And then he'd drive home? What were you thinking?
He wasn't thinking. He was not thinking.
What? And he laughs. That's not funny.
He thinks it's a riot.
Well, did he think it was a riot when he almost crashed his plane that once?
I guess. When we were on our honeymoon, he was not drinking, but we were going, I don't know where we were in Canada, but we were someplace, and we weren't familiar with the area at all, and so we're just cruising along, and we come to this bridge, and it's a bridge that maybe only one person is supposed to be on it. Well, we passed somebody on that bridge. I mean,
Going about 90 miles an hour.
we could have
What?
almost great. Yeah.
Why were you going that fast?
I don't
I
know.
wanted to get over the bridge before him because I didn't want to be on the side of him.
But we were. We did this. He said, "Wow, we must have just had a piece of paper between us. We could have got killed on our honeymoon."
No, at least he had died happy.
And Lord watched over us.
I guess he had to with all
I
your
know.
fools around.
Oh, honey, he really was a hoodlum. He really was. He done so many
Excuse me.
things. It's a good thing I didn't go with him any longer, or maybe I would have thought, my dad's right, the people from the North End are hoodlums. Because he did so many things. Take the packing out of the wheels of the train and start a fire with them so they could do whatever, keep warm or something.
We didn't know that was for greasing the bearings. All we knew is it made good fires.
Oh my goodness, they were hoodlums.
Why did you need a fire?
Well, we wanted a campfire when we were down by the railroad tracks.
What? What did you go down there for?
Just hang around with the other hobos.
What? You hung around with hobos?
Really really with hobos, or are you just
No.
teasing now?
No, there were hobos, and they'd have they're cooking their food in tin cans and stuff.
So did you join them?
Well, they had us show us some of the puzzles they make. They
What?
make the puzzles that you have to try to get them together or
Rubik's
apart.
Cube? Oh no.
No, like the metal ones and
Yeah.
stuff? So
They
the
would make
hobos
them-
would make puzzles. So you went down there to have a campfire to hang out with the hobos so that they could show you the puzzles they made?
Well, I don't know whether it went that way or not.
Which way did it go?
She said my dad was right.
I'm thinking he might have been.
And then we went in and out of the boxcars.
Doing what?
And then I tried to hop one time, but I slipped and I landed on the ground by the railroads.
You fell off the top?
Well, it was going too fast for me to grab it, so I slipped.
Oh,
It was
my
going?
gosh.
Yeah.
You were on top of a train while it was
No,
going?
you know
I
the doors, the side doors? He
Yeah.
was gonna hop in there, in that slide door.
While it was going.
Mhm.
And what happened instead?
He slipped.
I slipped.
It is an absolute miracle any of us are here today.
See, my dad was right.
How did you think
yeah.
you were gonna hop in a moving train?
I don't know. I wanted to see how far I could go, maybe.
Wow. Guys are stupid.
So he was a hoodlum.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Were you doing that with someone or by yourself?
He's probably with his brother.
John Lebowski was probably there. John Lebowski's dad worked for the railroad, but his dad probably never knew we were doing this. And my brother Emery was with us.
I can't imagine Emmy doing
And
that.
one time, Emery got away, but the detective caught me and John
Caught you doing what? At the down by the rail?
hanging around the railroad. So
Are you not supposed to be down
he
there?
want the name of the other guy. So I can't remember whether I told him or not, but anyway, he took me home and dropped me off, but he didn't do nothing to us.
What did your dad say?
We didn't dare tell my dad.
He'd have got a licking for sure.
The detective didn't tell your dad?
Huh?
The detective didn't tell your dad?
Well, technically, but I left before Dad got there.
Didn't you get your first car when you were 12?
I was 13 and John was 15. Dad came home from the shop and says, Glenn wants to sell his car for $25.
25 bucks?
Should I get it? And John and I said yes.
25
I don't know how
bucks?
many years we drove that car. It went back and forth to Atlas to Caddy.
Who sells a
And
car
that
for
car
25
was like the one I
bucks?
got now, the Roadster.
Okay, but was that a really cheap car or was that normal price?
Oh yeah, they were
Well,
cheap back then.
cars were going for that.
We gotta go home. It's getting
Yeah.
dark. We're gonna turn into a
I got a little
pumpkin.
bit more than drink it.
Did you take your pill?
Yeah.
Well, now that we